We're here with Minji Choi, and we're excited to announce her as one of the winners of the Parness Competition. So today we'll be here to be able to learn about Minji, how long she's been performing, what she performed in terms of the recital, how her practice and technique has come along with her teachers, and her excitement about being able to play with the orchestra in the next year. Welcome, Minji. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So, yeah, if you could just start by telling us your name, your age, and where you go to school.
My name is Minji Choi, and I'm a 16-year-old violinist, and I'm currently studying at the Culver Music Academy. And for school, I go to Sage Oak Charter School.
Amazing. And what grade are you in?
I'm a junior in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, 11th grade.
Mhm.
That's almost to the end of high school. How
Yeah.
long have you been performing and what instrument do you play?
I play the violin, and I've been playing for around 9-ish years now. And um, I've the first time I've performed with an orchestra was when I was 13. So I've been doing that for around 3 years now.
Amazing. What made you decide to take the violin? Was it your choice or your parents' choice or your teacher's choice or a mix of all those things?
So it was my older brother that first started learning the violin, and naturally I just watched him like play and like practice, and every time he had his lessons I would just like go up to him and the teacher and just like sit down and watch the entire lesson. And then a few months after, I started going up to the teacher myself, and she would teach me like 2 minutes or 5 minutes increments, like after my brother's lesson. And I think that was how I gradually started playing the violin.
Amazing. And so when you were watching the lessons and seeing your brother, what made you think, wow, I really want to do that? What did you hear? What did you feel?
I felt like the violin really is really similar to the human voice. And in a way, just it's able to depict like human sounds, like human personalities or emotions in such a natural way. And I felt like that immediately made me want to start exploring the instrument myself.
So that is true. It can go sharp, it can go flat, very similar to the human voice. And it's a connection, with you and your instrument. It always makes me think of Harry Potter and the Sorting Hat, that the instrument will speak to you, your wand, your violin will come to you. So that's very exciting. What piece did you play in the competition?
I played the first movement of Sibelius's Violin Concerto.
Oh wow, that's a pretty difficult piece. How long did it take to practice and get that ready for competition?
Around the time of the competition, I've been playing it for a like close to an year, but I've went like on and off playing the piece for like a few times.
And so when you're practicing, how often do you practice and how long do you practice?
I think I usually do like shorter practice sessions, but multiple times because I'm not a very like I'm not the kind of person that is able to focus for a long period of time. And I think I try to do a more focused and like practice sessions, even if they aren't like longer practice sessions. And I will make sure I am able to like refresh my mind and like relax my body after each session so then I can like do multiple ones throughout the day.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a theory of what's called deep work. So people are really good at doing really deep practice for very short periods of time. How long is the Sibelius piece?
It is around 16 minutes.
Okay. And so for people who are not familiar with Sibelius or not familiar with this piece, like what do you think this piece represents? Or basically like why would you pick this piece?
I think the Sibelius Violin Concerto is a very, the composer's very personal and emotional work. Sibelius was a violinist and he wanted to become a violinist, but he started the violin a little later in his life. And so the Sibelius Violin Concerto is known to have been written for like his ghostly self. And I think if you think about that and kind of reimagine each sections of the concerto with that knowledge, there are so many like personal and emotional and very deeply engaging like moments that you could almost imagine like how Sibelius was like living or thinking like while writing the composition.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely picking it up later in life and writing it as a violinist later in life would be different than a younger composer. You look at someone like a Mozart who was a child prodigy and wrote young, it would be different. So then, who did you listen to, like in terms of emulation or just violinists that you admire to kind of learn this piece? I assume you listen to people who have played this piece. Who do you who did you listen to?
I think I took many inspirations from Maxim Vengerov recording with the Chicago Symphony and also like Christian Ferris's recording.
So you had said previously that you had already played with an orchestra at 13, and
Mm,
now you are 16.
yeah.
And so 3 years later, how was that experience 3 years ago? And what do you look forward to in the next experience?
In my first time playing with the orchestra, um, first of all, I was very excited and but I was also very nervous because I didn't know how I was I should express myself as a soloist playing with the orchestra. And I think those were some things that I found challenging in the first times, like I rehearsed and performed with the orchestra. And I think as I was able to get more of these experiences and opportunities, I think the relationship I develop like musically with the orchestra and like the conductor gets deeper. And I think especially with the piece that I will be performing, the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, that will be something that is so critical and also very effective when there is this sort of musical communication between the soloist and the orchestral accompaniment.
Yes. So then what is the difference of performing solo versus with an accompanist versus with the orchestra?
Usually, I like to think when I play music as a chamber music, but obviously when I'm playing a solo violin piece, because um I'm playing by myself, I think of it as more of a communication between me and myself and how I deliver it to the audience. But I think when I play a piece with the piano, it's more of how as a duo we can create like a piece and like something that feels like a complete musical idea and in the same way deliver it to the audience. And I think the same applies to the orchestra, except because there are more people involved, it is oftentimes a little bit more challenging, but also a lot more effective. And it can show even more, like, even deeper emotional engagement.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's just there are moments in time for any of those versions of performing, but you still practice and still perform in all of them. So outside of music, do you have any other hobbies or interests or subjects in school that you like? Like what do you like to do?
I like to read and I also really enjoy writing. And my favorite subject in school is history, so I especially like to read and write about history. And I also really like to spend time with my family or my friends.
And what is the most interesting thing you've learned in history this year?
Right now, I'm learning about the United States government. So I think how each like social beliefs were adapted to the government and like how each amendments were established and how it gets interpreted in each like court cases were very interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, history, we learn from it so that we can make adjustments in the modern age for sure. And classical being a older style of music comes from a huge deep music history too. So then in terms of reading, what genre do you love to read and what is your favorite book?
I usually don't like depend myself on like specific genres and especially because I would usually find myself discovering and like reading like nonfiction books. I like to also kind of push myself to go in the other direction as well. I have many favorite books, but I recently read The Interpreter of Maladies, and I thought it was a very interesting book because it has these short stories, short vignettes about different people and their life and the short moments of their lives. And I think finding a universal theme that is explored in each story and how it connects to the other was a very interesting experience.
Amazing. So then last question, if you were going to give advice to someone your age or younger learning violin or
Mhm.
interested in classical music, what advice would you give?
I think when you're being involved in like this classical music field, it is very easy to like sometimes compare your progress and to other people's or sometimes feel like you're not doing enough or you're not being your best. But I think it is very important to know that in your individual and unique way, you are always progressing for the better and to become like essentially a better musician and also a human being. And I think it's also very important to know to think of music as a universal language that can also become an extension of yourself.
Agree. Yeah. Always good to just compare yourself to see your own improvement, your own path versus comparing yourself to others because There'll always be people who have different levels of skill and different techniques and different ideas. We're all unique. We're all snowflakes. So that's exciting. Well, congratulations again, Minji. This
Thank
is
you.
Minji Choi and doing her profile on the Parness competition. So excited about you winning and also excited about seeing you in the upcoming seasons perform with the orchestra and continue to grow and play these pieces and perfect them over time. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. We will send you all the links when everything is out so that you can listen back to it. But we have enjoyed speaking with you, and hopefully our audience will enjoy getting to know a little bit more about you.
Thank you.
Take care.